You don't need to spend money on an expensive steak anymore. You can still enjoy tender, juicy, and flavorful steak using a more affordable cut of beef bought from the supermarket. Hi everyone, it's Tracy here. Today I'm going to share with you a few simple tips to turn inexpensive beef into a tender, rich, and delicious steak, just like the kind you get at a fancy restaurant. Stay with me and you'll find out where the secret is. To give this dish that restaurant-quality flavor, the beef is an extremely important ingredient. But there is one special thing: I'm using a regular cut of beef, not an expensive steak cut, and it can still turn out tender and delicious, especially when paired with this Italian-style side dish made with carrots, a little balsamic vinegar, a little cilantro, a few cloves of garlic, unsalted butter, and fresh lemon. I'll show you how to make the side dish first because it takes more time. First, simply cut off the top and bottom of the carrots. Then bring a pot of water to a boil and add about 1 tablespoon of salt to the water. The salt helps give the carrots more flavor and reduces their raw taste. The nice thing about this step is that you don't need to peel the carrots beforehand. Just place them directly into the pot and boil them. Now lower the heat and let the carrots simmer gently for about 20 to 30 minutes. During this time, the carrots slowly absorb the light saltiness while becoming sweeter and softer. This is a very simple technique I learned from a cooking show, and it honestly surprised me. While the carrots are slowly becoming tender, you can move on to preparing the beef. This is one of the most important steps if you want inexpensive beef to taste like a good restaurant steak. First, open the package and take a close look at the surface of the meat. You'll see quite a bit of liquid surrounding it. This happens very often with packaged beef sold in supermarkets because the meat stays sealed for a certain period of time. That liquid can have a slightly strong smell, and if you leave it on the meat, it can affect both the flavor and texture when cooking. So use a paper towel and gently pat both sides of the beef thoroughly dry. Then sprinkle salt evenly over both sides of the meat. Make sure the surface is covered with a thin layer of salt, including the edges if possible. Then let the steak rest on a tray or plate for about 10 to 15 minutes. During this stage, the salt will slowly draw moisture out of the meat through the process of osmosis. Once the time is up, use paper towels to thoroughly wipe away all of the remaining moisture and salt. You definitely should not skip this step. It truly determines the quality of the steak when cooking. Now let the steak rest for a while and go back to check on the carrots. At this point, the carrots should already be tender, so take them out and gently peel the skin off with your hands or a small knife. You'll notice the skin comes off very easily after boiling. This is exactly why we kept the carrot skin on earlier. The skin helps protect the inside of the carrots while cooking, so less of the natural sweetness and flavor is lost. After peeling, cut the carrots into thick round slices like the ones served in restaurants, which also helps them stay tender on the inside. Now to cook the steak. Place a frying pan over high heat and let the pan heat up well. Because this piece of beef is only about 1 centimeter thick, high heat is very important to create a beautiful crispy crust quickly without overcooking the inside. Add a little olive oil and wait until you see a light wisp of smoke rising from the pan. That is the perfect time to place the steak in. The moment the meat touches the pan, you will hear a sizzling sound, which means the oil is hot enough to sear the steak and create an even golden brown crust. Cook the first side for about 40 to 50 seconds without moving the meat too much. At this point, the surface of the meat is being seared and forming a beautiful golden brown crust. Then flip to the other side and cook for another 40 seconds or so to create the same beautiful golden brown crust on the other side. Once the steak has been seared long enough, transfer it to a tray or plate and cover it with aluminum foil to keep it warm while it rests. You should not wrap it too tightly to avoid trapping steam, which can soften the surface and ruin the delicious crispy crust we just created in the pan. Now let's continue making the side dish to go with the steak. Reuse the same pan you just cooked the steak in. All of those browned bits left behind are packed with flavor, and they will make the carrots even more delicious. Add a little olive oil to the pan along with a few crushed garlic cloves. Then add the carrot slices to the pan and cook over medium-low heat for about 10 minutes to remove the excess moisture from the surface of the carrots. As the water evaporates, the natural sweetness of the carrots becomes richer and more concentrated. At the same time, the garlic gently cooks in the oil, creating a light garlic aroma throughout the pan. One important thing is not to let the garlic burn. If the garlic starts turning brown too quickly, simply move it on top of the carrots for a moment so it cooks more slowly. Now the carrots are almost finished, and this final step is what creates that wonderful restaurant-style flavor. First, lightly wipe away some of the extra oil from the pan. Then add a piece of unsalted butter directly into the warm pan. As the butter melts, keep the heat low and let the butter slowly turn brown. You'll notice the color becoming slightly golden and the aroma becoming richer. At this point, place the steak back into the pan. When you removed the steak earlier, you probably noticed some flavorful meat juices collecting on the tray. Don't waste those juices. Pour them into a little balsamic vinegar and mix well. This small step adds even more richness and flavor to the dish. At this stage, you should not cook the steak too long. The steak is already nearly done, so we only need to warm it back up. So flip it quickly to avoid overcooking it. Sprinkle a little black pepper over the top. Then add your favorite herbs. You can use a little chopped fresh cilantro, parsley, or thyme, all of which work very well here. After that, pour in the balsamic vinegar mixed with the meat juices. Next, spoon the sauce over both the steak and the carrots. Then take the steak out and slice it into bite-sized pieces. As you can see, the steak has a beautiful golden crust, slightly crispy on the outside, while the inside stays pink, tender, and juicy. Even though this was an inexpensive piece of beef bought from the supermarket, when cooked this way, it becomes surprisingly tender and full of flavor. Finally, arrange everything on a plate, starting with a few neatly placed carrot slices. Then place the beef on top. Drizzle a little more balsamic sauce over it and add a few garlic cloves on the side. For this side, I'll decorate it with a few lemon slices and a little cilantro. Wow, this beautiful plate of beef looks just like a steak dish from a restaurant. To balance the flavors, squeeze a little fresh lemon juice over the top before eating. The light acidity helps balance the richness of the butter and beef, making the whole dish taste fresher and lighter. Take a bite of the steak with a piece of carrot. You'll get the rich, juicy tenderness of the beef and the soft, natural sweetness of the carrots, combined with the mild, sweet and tangy flavor from the balsamic vinegar sauce and fresh lemon, which helps balance everything perfectly. Together, they create a perfect steak dish that is tender, juicy, and full of flavor. I wish I could share this taste with you right now. And that's the recipe for making restaurant-quality steak from an inexpensive cut of beef. Remember to save it so you can make it for your family to enjoy. Don't leave without clicking the like button, sharing the video, and subscribing to the channel. Thank you, and see you again.